Hi, this is Anne Marie from Living Love Consciously. I am here today to talk to you about being present. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Whenever you see this, I hope things are going really well for you and that your energy is balanced and that you're doing your best to live a love consciously life or living love consciously. So, if you haven't seen my other videos, again, I'm Anne Marie and I talk about living love consciously. And what does that mean? It means living through love by acting. When you act in society, you do it from a space of love, you do it from a space of kindness, and you do it from a space of compassion. In that way, you allow yourself the room to be part of the community while still maintaining your individuality, which is important because I think this is where we need to bridge the gap. I think in our past, we were very tribal, right? We needed our tribe because we needed the identity of the tribe to be who we are. And then after that, we needed to move outside of the tribe so we can learn what other tribes are doing, what other things are effective for them, what other things don't work for them, what are the pitfalls of the other tribes. And then we incorporate the positive aspects of that and we acknowledge the negative aspects so we don't repeat the patterns. And that builds the individuality that we need to connect to the tribe as well as be an individual, because this is where we're at. I think in the human evolution is how do we become an individual while still maintaining our connection to the tribe. All right, that was a mouthful, and I hope I didn't scare you away by talking about all that. So, in this conversation, I am going to talk about being present. And as a very emotional person, I am deeply connected to my emotions in the sense that if I smell a certain thing, it will take me back in time and I'll be like, oh my God. So, I am not always present and I have to really work at it. I think a lot and my thoughts bring me back to the past all the time. And I have videos about negative self talk, how sometimes your thoughts can bring you to a negative space. And it's about acknowledging it and not trying to bury it and say, oh, I only think positive. I only think positive. But to acknowledge those thoughts and allow yourself to process them and say, you know what? Yeah, this happened in the past and it did have an effect on me. But right now I'm present. I'm trying to move past it and to learn and to acknowledge that I can move forward in my life, even though bad things have happened to me. So again, we are talking about being present. So I'm sorry, I didn't write notes this time, but I did make bullet points. All right. So I don't digress too much and go off topic. So what does it mean? What does being present mean? So for me, being present means, like, for example, I'm trying to teach my son to be present. He's 3 years old and he's a little kid. So it's just like trial and error and just helping him to understand that even though his mind is going a million miles an hour because he's learning everything is new to him, everything is wonderful to him, everything is an exploration. Every time I ask him, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just exploring. And it's really wonderful because I was an explorer as a kid. I was a very what's the word I'm looking for? I was very curious, and there's positive and negative aspects to being too curious, right? We won't get into the negative aspects, but there is. So you have to find a balance with regards to how far you allow your curiosity to drive you, and if you have the tools to protect you from being overexposed to curiosity. So as a parent, I try to teach him to be present. So for example, we're brushing our teeth. So in the moment that we're brushing our teeth, I say to him, hey, right now we're brushing our teeth. Let's think about that. Let's think about the positioning of the brush. Let's think about the sensation of the brush. What's going on with the brush? How is it that it's touching our teeth? What is it doing? And all these things that help us to be present. So I constantly keep him in the moment of brushing his teeth. Because if I don't, he will be touching the curtains. He will be playing with the water. He will be playing with my shirt. He will be sticking his finger in my face, in my mouth, asking 20 million questions. And of course I want him to be curious, but I also have to teach him to be present because in life, he's going to have to be present. Like if he's doing a task that needs his complete attention, he's going to have to learn to say, okay, yes, I'm thinking of tinkering with all these other things, but right now I have this task ahead of me that I need to finish. So I need to be present. And also, being present allows him to appreciate the moment that he's in and to understand, like, going back to the brushing of the teeth analogy, like I'm brushing my teeth. What does that feel like? Does it feel good to brush my teeth? Does it feel clean afterwards? Is like the toothbrush too harsh on me? So maybe he grows up and says, you know what? I don't like this type of toothbrush. This bristle is too hard. This bristle is too soft. It's not doing the job properly. But if he just does it, like being automated, then he's not acknowledging the positives and the negatives of the ritual of brushing his teeth. Like he's not acknowledging that his toothbrush might be the wrong toothbrush for his mouth. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is just an analogy. So you can apply it to something in your life where you need to be present in the moment to fully understand what's going on. And that allows you to also be able to concentrate your mind and to turn off thought patterns that are not necessarily healthy for you, right? And also being present can also, I mean, like, you know, everything is a positive and a negative, is a reward versus not a reward, is a give and take, right? So you can be present in a negative thought form, right? But it's also acknowledging, like I said before, how is the curiosity, how is being present going to affect you in the moment of that specific thought form, right? Or that specific task that you're doing? Is it going to veer you into a negative space that you can't come out of? Or is it going to teach you something about yourself that's going to improve your life? Because that's basically the decisions we make. Is this going to improve my life or not? Is it going to make my life worse or not? So I really try to be present in that sense. Like, there's a lot of information on the internet, and I really try to stay away from like the spiritual community and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to get really into all that stuff, but like, you know, people just trying to escape the world or escape living on earth. And to me, that's like another thought form that's like it invaded society, in the sense that it keeps us from truly experiencing our physical reality, which I think is a blessing. I think being here on earth is a blessing. I don't think earth is a prison. I don't think earth is somewhere that's meant to hurt us, to make us feel demeaned as a human being, as a, you know, a child of God, as someone Jesus came here to help see truly who they are. I believe that earth is something positive, and not a lot of people believe that. And that's why I try to live love consciously, because I want to break that thought pattern, that thought form of earth is a jail, earth is a prison, earth is the hood, earth is ghetto. And granted, I do say that sometimes. Like, I have a topic where I'm like, why is earth so ghetto? And I mean it in like the most loving way, because it doesn't have to be ghetto. Like, earth doesn't have to be this hard knock life place. But because of our decisions, because of the way that we process our energy here, we tend to make it hard. And I speak to myself, and I'm not saying that I'm above anybody or anything like that, that I know better than anyone what's going on, because I have pain too. Like, if you've looked at some of my past videos where there's a couple of them where I'm like, a love letter to God, a love letter to humanity, a love letter to me. And these are love letters that I wrote to express how I feel with my relationship with God, with my relationship with humanity, and with my relationship with self. And it does sound sad, because I'm like listening to them now. I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so sad. But it's the truth that I was at the moment when I wrote those love letters, and I expressed them on the internet, because I know there are people who feel like that. I know there are people who feel like God doesn't like them, or God is not listening to them, because there's so many challenges in their lives. And I'm not going to sit here and victim blame you and say, oh, you create your reality and blah, blah, blah. And if you're not creating you're creating all this negative stuff that's happening to you. Or the other idea of like, everyone is a reflection of you, and everything that's happening is you doing it to yourself because you need to learn. It's like, and then because I have a kid, I'm like, when I look at my son, he's like so innocent and so adorable. And it's like, Is he really creating like the negative aspects that might happen to him? No, because he's like not even fully conscious yet. Like if it wasn't for his parents helping him along, he would just be like, I don't know what would happen to him. Like seriously. So even us humans, even though we're older, and again, I feel like I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm 10 minutes in. Even though we're getting older, we're still very young in regards to our consciousness, our level of consciousness. So I think it's important to just acknowledge all of those things that are constantly happening. So in regards to being present, why we should be present, it allows us to understand how we're processing information in the world, our place in those processes, and how we can change our patterns. Okay, sorry guys. My phone locked on me again. Okay, so that's why I think that's why what it means to be present. It means to stay focused so you understand your thought patterns, your thought forms. And I will have another video on thought forms because I think thought forms are something that can be real, and I think they can become real, like physical objects, physical things that manifest in our lives. So you have to be careful about the thought forms that you have and how how invasive they are in your life, because you can't like shut off your brain. I don't think you can, because if you shut off your brain, then you're not processing your reality very well. Or if your brain gets like something that throws off its interpretation of the world, then I think that you have a level of schizophrenia, of mental challenges that happen to you. So you have to like really understand how powerful your brain is, not necessarily its consciousness, but its ability to interpret your world around you. All right. Why do we need to be present? I think I said it already. Being present allows you to acknowledge your thought patterns, and it allows you to understand how you place yourself in this reality. I think I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. And I hope you stayed along with me into my rant. And then how do we be present? I think being present is a decision. Like, I'm doing this. I'm washing the dishes right now. That's what I'm doing. Washing the dishes. Oh my God, look at the suds on the plate. Okay, I see like I'm taking the grease off. I'm taking the scum off. I'm taking all the stuff off. Okay, I'm rinsing the dish now. It becomes a routine. And then as you become more and more present in that moment, it's a meditative state that helps you to relax your body, that helps you to stay out of too much stress. And I am a person who has trouble sleeping. I'm a person who's always thinking. So I have to come up with things that help me to keep my body, my brain kind of like from constantly thinking about everything, from constantly being in tangential, blah, 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 tangents of thought processes, and just staying focused and in the moment of what I'm doing. And I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at it because like when I'm working, I listen to music. I listen to podcasts when I'm working, only because, believe it or not, I am not always listening to the podcast. I just need the background noise, and it helps me to just like stay concentrated on my task versus the noise that's happening around me at work. Like, for example, if somebody's having a meeting and a call, I don't necessarily want to hear what the meeting and the call is about because I don't want to get involved in that world. I kind of don't want to know everything that goes on with regards to the politics at work. So I plug my ears and I listen to a podcast, something that doesn't really need my attention, but there's noise in the background. So it doesn't have to be perfect, is my point, like being present. But I know I'm present and I'm doing my task because I get my work done. Other ways that I do it. I sometimes draw, I sometimes color, and I just sit there and I color. I, see how the pencil works on the paper. And I'm like, oh, you know what? This paper is really cheap. I'm not going to buy this coloring book, because I have bought some coloring books from Amazon that have been like terrible, in the sense that the paper is so cheap that it doesn't really there's not enough, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not enough tension, or not tension, but there's not enough grit on the paper to grab onto the color. And I buy like really good colors and I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. So things like that, like Amazon is so annoying because there's so many cheap things on there that, anyway, I'm going on a tangent because I am from an art background and I know real color paper. I know real paper that's good for color, that's good for all these things. And I'm like, why do you have to sell such cheap stuff at a price that I could have, anyway, like things we do like that because we shouldn't take advantage of each other. That's the point I'm taking. Anyway, so that's how you be present, and that's why it's important to be present. So if I lost you in my tangent, the first question is, what does being present mean? Being present means being aware of what you're doing it, why you're doing it. Why do we need to be present? We need to be present to keep our thought forms in the direction that we want them to be so that we don't go into tangents of other things in that moment of what we're doing. How do we be present? We be present by consistently allowing ourselves to do the tasks that we've put in front of us, to concentrate on that in that moment so we complete it and we acknowledge that how did this make us feel at the end of the day? Was this something that was helpful to me? Did it take me into a negative aspect of my life, and why? And then you can start having more conversations with yourself about being present. All right. I hope this was helpful. I hope you liked it. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment and let me know what you think being present means. How do you practice being present, and how has it helped you in your life to go through situations where you might think that that was difficult for you? All right. I'll talk to you soon. I love you. Take care of yourself. Bye.